Last night, producer Steve here at The Jump challenged all three of our insiders up here to come up with their best Kyrie trade, the deal they would do if they were new Cavs GM Kobe Altman. And now, friends, the time has come. And let me warn you, you're all going to be judged by your peers
what
here.
Else is new?
Brian, what do you got?
I've got the best trade for Kyrie Irving. And thank you for starting with me. It's going to be to the Phoenix Suns for Eric Bledsoe and the guy they just drafted, Josh Jackson. And that is, I think, one of the best things that the Cavs could do. They could get a player that can help them immediately at both ends of the court and a player that theoretically could replace Kyrie Irving as an all-star as he develops.
Of course, Josh Jackson, the big red flag there is there are reports out in Phoenix. They've told him he's not going to be traded. Ramona Shelburne confirmed that. However, Brian, you say...
I'm sure that he has been told that, and Ramona is never wrong, but... Many players have been told they're not going to be traded, and then they get traded. It's one of the rituals of NBA. You might as well get Josh used to it right off the bat.
I mean, David Blatt stood up and said,
we're not trading Andrew Wiggins,
right?
And that can
he
start
also
right
said,
there.
I'm going to keep my job.
He also said we're not trading Kyrie Irving. Why trade another star to the Western Conference? Have enough. And wouldn't Kyrie Irving say, you know what? Don't trade for me because in 2 years when I'm a free agent, I'm definitely leaving Phoenix.
They could say that, and then they could tell Kyrie, well, we'll be glad to see you in training camp then. And you could pretty much call his bluff.
That's true. I mean, that's the thing with the whole oh, Kyrie has leverage, quote unquote, on where he goes. I don't think he has that much leverage because first of all, it's a 2-year deal. I've heard you say a few times in the last couple of days, you're not going to get anything much better than a 2-year deal now, right? You're not going to get someone traded on a 3-year deal. No. So also, look, he's the one who wants to be traded.
And I know you can't technically trade Jackson today because he just signed his contract.
Got to wait 30 days.
But you can trade him next week.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with Wiggins. They waited that month.
I think next week isn't a deal buster. I'm just going to stick my neck out.
All right, so Jackie, what do you think of Brian's trade?
I like it.
Thank you, Jackie.
I like it.
Well, that was a tepid.
But it's not what I chose, so how can I say I liked it a lot?
All right,
I got something better.
It was the third best trade.
Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
So I think that Kyrie Irving should end up with the Denver Nuggets.
Ooh.
You take Kyrie Irving and Iman Shumpert, and you trade him to the Denver Nuggets for Kenneth Faried, who has been involved in I don't know how many trade discussions with the Denver Nuggets for like a decade now, it feels like. Wilson Chandler, who earlier in the season said he wanted to be traded. I'm going to throw in Jamal Murray, and that's why Cleveland should want to do it. And I'll even give him a future first-round pick.
You're just giving stuff
Wow,
away.
this is a great negotiation for the Cavs.
Well, aren't I supposed to do what's best for the Cavs?
That's right.
Wasn't that my
Trade
assignment?
is successful.
Jackie, this is an excellent trade.
Well, I'm so happy, Brian, because I really wanted you to like it.
I don't think the Nuggets will give up Jamal Murray and Gary Harris. I think they'd be willing to give up one or the other.
But what about a future number one?
So you would plug in Gary Harris to where Jamal Murray was?
I might prefer to have Gary. I'd want both, to be honest with you. But realistically,
I'm not giving you both because it's my trade.
That's right, and I would say that about the Nuggets too.
Now, Rachel touched on it. You did as well. The idea that Kyrie Irving can't dictate where he goes. Once again, this is not a team that he had on his list. I get it. No, he doesn't have a no-trade clause. But once again, what if he says, he and his agent, Jeff Wechter, you trade us to Denver, you got us for 2 years because we're definitely leaving. So proceed very cautiously.
And Denver will say, well, that's good because we just signed Paul Millsap for 2 years and we have Nikola Jokic and we're ready to go now. So let's go. Let's go for 2 years.
And Denver is all about making the playoffs this year. It's playoffs or bust.
That's true. Denver was dead last in the league in attendance last year. Kyrie Irving will sell tickets.
And you know what else? My daughter just moved to Colorado. I am really hoping this trade happens.
That's why. That's the bias. It's a Denver bias.
I got a Denver bias
now. The bias just keeps moving west, by the way. In the NBA this year, there's nothing we can do to keep anyone on the East Coast. I mean, look, part of this then, too, is Kyrie getting into the be careful what you wish for. Because the standard then, if he gets traded to Denver, becomes what? You're trying to make the playoffs?
You know what? I think he gets traded to Denver. If you look at Denver's roster, and you put Kyrie on there, minus the guys I discussed, I understand Murray and or Harris. That would be hard to swallow. I think they're pretty good. Now, are they good enough to beat Golden State? Are we going to say that for every single trade?
I will say this. If Kyrie was if they made Jackie's trade between Nikola Jokic and Kyrie Irving, you would have the most deadly point guard center pick and roll duo in the team and the worst defensive pick and roll.
But Jokic wouldn't care about Kyrie getting a ton of shots.
Probably not. And with Paul Millsap there to help you defensively, that would be a very dynamic
Do you have enough perimeter
team.
shooting with that team, though?
you know, you might have
Fair
to address
question.
that in such a way. But Kyrie is a good outside shooter.
And is he the man enough on that team that he would satisfy whatever part of that is part of this decision to leave Cleveland?
I mean, I think Jokic is a better player long term, but Kyrie would certainly be the
Jokic
driver.
is really good.
Interesting.
really
so
good.
let's talk about a team on Kyrie Irving's list.
All right, come on,
Frank.
Rachel. We'll make it more realistic now. And listen,
good.
I tried to get him to the Knicks. But Carmelo Anthony is not going to go there, and the Knicks are not going to trade Chris Porzingis. So my apologies to everybody in New York first. But Miami is a
Disappointing
team,
a lot
and
of people,
remember,
Frank.
Jeff Wexler is his agent. Alonzo Mourning, they're all connected. So how about Goran Dragic, your point guard, Justice Winslow, and to be nice, on July 31st, I'm going to throw in the draft pick, Bam Adebayo. So you get some players in return, and guess what? Cleveland's going back to the finals. Miami gets the point guard they wanted. Brian, I dare you to criticize that trade.
It's not enough.
Mr. Miami.
I'll make it extraordinarily easy. The centerpiece of a trade for Kyrie Irving can't be a
Goran
31-year-old
Dragic.
point guard.
You bet.
I'm
Who's
giving you
never made
two
the-
young players, Justice Winslow, and I'm giving you Bam
Justice
Adebayo.
Winslow's had a terrible
He can't
year. He had
shoot.
injuries. He
And
can't
shoulder
shoot. He's
injury.
had problems.
And by the way,
His-
if you
his
right
value-
on Cleveland, he
His
can't
value
shoot.
is down. His value is down.
If you start apologizing in New York, Frank, we're going to be here all afternoon.
I mean,
tried.
Look, this goes back to what we said at the top of the show. Cleveland's needs here are different than a lot of other teams. They need to get back in trade a player who can help be a real number two to get you to the NBA Finals.
But there definitely is a second layer to this negotiation, and is what we've talked about here. We've glossed over it, but we need to focus on it. If Kyrie comes out, now whether it's him or his agent, and says, I am only going to re-sign with one of those teams on my list, New York, San Antonio, Miami, Minnesota, then you have an issue, and you have a stare down. And then a team like Phoenix or a team like Denver may lower their asking price because they realize it's a 2-year rental.
It's a rental.
This
Like
is
with Paul
exactly what
George.
happened with Paul George.
Paul George.